Well, the days are getting shorter. The kids are back in school. The Obamas are back at the White House, but there is no word from the White House yet on a new executive order to deal with the immigration crisis. But sources say the president is getting ready to act alone, as he promised to do before the end of the summer. House Republicans failed to reach a deal, of course, on comprehensive immigration reform after the Senate pushed through their bill last year. Meanwhile, Republicans are warning us about a new terror threat and concerns at the border. The number of illegal immigrants, including many undocumented children, is falling, but it's still higher than it was this time last year. And as we wait for something from the White House, Democrats say we better brace ourselves for millions of new legal citizens.
When 5 million people are allowed the opportunity to come out from under the shadows and into the light of day and get legalized, it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of capacity of our community.
Well, a new executive order on immigration would dwarf the president's prior action that allowed so-called dreamers to get a reprieve from deportations. The White House is also facing increasing pressure from Democrats as air surveillance begins over Syria and the airstrikes continue in Iraq. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine is pressing the White House for more info, and he wrote in a recent statement, quote, "I'm calling for the mission and objectives for this current significant military action against ISIL or ISIS to be made clear to Congress, the American people, and our men and women in uniform, and Congress should vote up or down on it." Last year, the president himself said he needed congressional backing for airstrikes in Syria after President Bashar Assad used chemical weapons against his own people. But this time, White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest says it's different.
It still is technically the summer. So we're not to the end of it yet. But when we get there, we'll probably have some news to make on immigration.
Well, that was Earnest talking about immigration reform. He also talked about Syria. Syria has warned the United States that any unauthorized use of military force in their country would constitute an act of aggression. Well, the fighting continues to intensify over in the Ukraine just one day after Russian tanks and armored personnel carriers rolled across the Russian-Ukrainian border. Meantime, in Belarus today, Russia's Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's Petro Poroshenko sat down face-to-face for the first time since June on the fighting that has engulfed the eastern part of Ukraine. The Ukrainian president faces pressure from Europe to find a negotiated settlement, not a military victory, to the fighting that began back in April. And we'll have another update coming up in 30 minutes. I'm John Bachman, now back to Midpoint.